You know what holds most people back from creating anything? It's not that they lack ideas. It's not even that they don't have talent. What really stops them is the belief that unless something is going to be amazing, it's simply not worth making at all. We've been conditioned to think that everything we share with the world has to be flawless, polished, and ready for prime time. But this obsession with making things perfect is actually strangling creativity before it even gets a chance to breathe. Let me tell you something that might sound a little surprising. Create things even if they're not great. In fact, create them especially if they're bad. The internet has messed with our brains in a strange way. We scroll past these ultra-polished videos, picture-perfect Instagram posts, and impeccable works of art. And we forget that each one is likely backed by hundreds of failed attempts that never saw the light of day. So, what is perfectionism really? It's fear dressed up in fancy clothes. Perfectionism isn't trying to help you become better. It's trying to keep you safe, and staying safe is the enemy of growth. Think back to when you were a child. You drew stick figures and thought they were incredible. You sang songs that were way off key and didn't care. You told stories that made no sense and felt proud of them. What happened to that fearless version of you? Over time, you became self-conscious. You learned that some things are good and others are bad, and you made the choice to stop creating rather than make something imperfect. Bad isn't the opposite of good. It's where good begins. Every person you look up to, every creator whose work moves you, started by making terrible, genuinely bad things. You can't edit something that doesn't exist. You can't improve something you never created. The gap between doing nothing and making something bad is huge, but the distance between making something bad and making something good is actually quite small. It just takes practice and iteration. And honestly, most of the stuff you think is bad probably isn't as bad as you believe. We're often our own harshest critics. Some of the most successful businesses began as side projects that their founders barely took seriously. And some of the most meaningful relationships started with clumsy conversations that both people thought went terribly. You can't skip the bad phase. It's not optional, and it's not something that only happens to other people while you magically begin perfect. Everyone, literally everyone, has to go through the phase where their output doesn't meet their standards. The only way through it is by going through it. So, start ugly, start small, start imperfect. Bring to life the idea that's been sitting in your head for months. Write that story, record that song, paint that picture, build that app, start that podcast. Whatever it is, create it badly, create it fast, create it before you talk yourself out of it. The world doesn't need another person waiting on the sidelines for the perfect moment to step in. It needs more people who are willing to try, willing to fail, and willing to make imperfect work on their way to something great. Your bad work is still better than doing nothing at all. And your good work, which will come if you keep making bad work, will be something extraordinary. But you'll never reach that point unless you start right here, right now.